Hi, everybody. Yesterday, we worked on determining whether or not quadrilaterals were parallelograms. And I noticed that you might be a little bit rusty at finding slopes. That's totally okay. Watch this video. I'm going to refresh your memory on how to find slopes, and then we'll work together to do a little more practice in a few minutes. Okay, let's get to work. First off, I gave you a graph for you to find the slope of AB. So on a graph, I really like to just count the rise and the run to find the slope. So I'm going to go from A. I always start at the point that's farthest to the left and then B. Just like in English, how you read a book from left to right. In math, you read a graph from left to right too. So all we're going to do is just count what that rise is and then count over to see what that run is. And then be really careful. This one is going to be a negative slope. You can picture a little skier at the top of the mountain, and that skier is going to go downhill. So our slope is negative because the rise is actually negative. So let's count how many boxes this is. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, down 11. That's the rise. Then the run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the right. You want to make sure the slope is always the change in the y coordinates or the rise over the change in the x coordinates. So make sure that you're using the right values on top. So the rise is negative 11. That goes on top. That's the change in the y values. The run is 7. That's the change in the x values that goes on the bottom. So the slope of AB is just negative 11 over 7, because to get from A to B, you have to go down 11 boxes and then over to the right 7 boxes. All right, what if I give you coordinates? Find the slope of CD, and then this is weird. I gave you coordinates for C, D, and E. Well, I just wanted to make sure that you were paying attention to which coordinates we're going to use. If we're talking about CD, that literally means we're going to use point C and point D. So we're not even going to use that E in there at all. I just threw it in because it was extra information, because when we're dealing with the quadrilaterals, we only use 2 points to find slope, but I'm going to give you 4 points because quadrilaterals have 4 vertices. So I just want to make sure that you know how to focus in on which points you actually need to use. So let's find the slope of CD. So slope, remember, is the change in the y coordinates over the change in the x coordinates. So you probably learned that as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And what does that mean? Well, this first point C, that's your first x and your first y. And then this second point D is your second x and your second y. So it just means that you're going to subtract the second y minus the first y, and then the second x minus the first x. The order doesn't actually matter as long as you're consistent, but let's just stick with this formula for now and do y2 minus y1. So this is slope. We use a little m for slope. So the slope of CD is y2 minus y1 over, and then we're going to do x2 minus x1. Be really careful subtracting here with all these negatives. -5 minus -8 is +3. You can always use a calculator to double check your arithmetic just to be sure. And then 11 minus 3 is 8. So it looks like this time we have a positive slope. So to get from C to D, we'd have to go up 3 units and over to the right 8 units, and that's your slope. Let me know what questions you have, and then we're going to do a bunch of practice to make sure that you're on the right track with slope so that you can apply that soon to working with quadrilaterals.